Hi there, my name is David Muniz. I am the Midwest Product Specialist for M Audio, and I wanted to give you a quick overview of the Axiom 25 keyboard. The Axiom series is our new line of premium keyboards from M Audio, and they're premium because they've got things like a semi-weighted keybed to give you a little bit more of an expressive feel while you're performing. The keybed also has aftertouch built into it, so that as you apply pressure to the keys, you can affect a third parameter such as vibrato or maybe reverb amount to your performance, giving you another degree of expression. You'll also find on the Axiom keyboards 8 trigger pads, much like the ones found on the trigger finger. These give you access to triggering things just like the keyboard does, except that this is a little bit more appropriate for triggering things like drums, percussion, and that sort of thing. Or if you wanted to, you can use them to also trigger loops inside of something like maybe Ableton Live. Now, you'll also find transport control, and they're labeled that way, but they're just MIDI note on-off buttons. You can assign them to whichever parameter you want, maybe turning effects off and on. And then you'll also find 8 rotary encoders across the top. Now, encoders are much cooler than pots because as you're flipping through presets in your controller, you won't see that jump in your software parameters that pots would typically give you, because encoders will always send +1 or -1 depending on where your, or regardless of where the software parameter is, giving you a little bit more flexibility as you move through your presets. You'll also find in the back of this MIDI ins and outs. So you can use this to control a piece of hardware instead of your computer, instead of a virtual instrument on your computer. And you can actually also connect an additional MIDI input to this if you wanted to. So if it were a hardware synth, so that you can communicate via SysX with your computer in that synthesizer, or maybe another controller like another keyboard or another set of trigger pads like our trigger finger, giving you a little bit more access to what's happening inside of that computer. All of that connects to the computer via one single USB cable, and it provides the power for the keyboard. And it's also a class-compliant device, which means you don't have to install any drivers on an OS X or XP machine. It just works. Now, the Axiom 25, giving you this much control, is pretty simple to program via the big, gigantic blue LCD screen here, giving you a lot of information. But to make it even easier for you, we've included a piece of software called Enigma. And what Enigma does is it lets you program your Axiom very easily based on perhaps the virtual synth that you have. So for example, if you might have the G Media Imposter on your computer and you wanted to assign the, how about filter drive to this knob, you simply drag it out of the library and drop it right onto the knob, and your rotary encoder is now programmed. All of this inside of a tiny little package that won't quite fit into the M Audio backpack, but you can probably carry under your arm pretty easily. Now, the Axiom series keyboards are available in 25-note, 49-note, and 61-key versions. And the 49 and 61-key versions add 9 faders that you can assign to any MIDI parameter, and a numeric keypad to make programming and accessing presets a little bit easier. All 3 keyboards are available now.